Thank you, thank you. Awesome, let's talk of the day. You're tired? I'm tired. Long day. But let's, after this, go all and grab a beer together and then watch the Node.js documentary. I can fancy a beer. So let's get this over with. I have this thing here. OK, cool. All things Astro. I am Elian. So I'm this Belgian guy, so it's not a far drive for me. I work on this thing called Astro, which you might have heard of. I also organize conferences back in Belgium called React Brussels, BGS, and now, since shortly, we also have a third one, React Paris, which will be in a couple of weeks. I also organize my own meetups back in my hometown in Ghent, in Belgium. If you're around the place, hit me up, and then you can come over. It's really fun. It's really cool. Nice. If you want to like socially follow me, I share a lot of like content on Astro mostly, and stupid selfies when I'm at parties. Sure, it happens. So follow me at Elian Codes. Cool. So what is Astro? Addressing the elephant in the room, right? Who has heard of Astro? Holy shit. That's way more than I expected. That's everyone. Awesome. Who has used Astro? OK, that's less people. Nice. OK, cool. And who is using Astro professionally? OK, OK. No, but that's good. That's good. That's why I'm here. Nice. OK, like 5 people. OK, OK. Nice. So, well, by now, that was actually my point. Like, you will have heard of Astro. We're kind of everywhere now. We influence the web. We hope to, at least. Cool. Cool to hear. So, for those that don't really know what Astro is, well, think of it as being a comparable framework to something like Next or Nuxt, a meta framework, as you will. But we have some cool twists and twirls that I'll talk about, like in the upcoming 23 minutes. This is a little bit of what the Astro syntax looks like. Like, it's super familiar. It looks like HTML. If you have like Vue experience or even JSX experience, it will feel very familiar. There is a couple of twists, though. Like at the top, that will always be server-side rendered. I'll come back to that a little bit later. This is actually like my website source code. This beautiful, shiny website. I know, I know. And you might not like it, but this is what peak web design looks like. I know, I invented it, yes. Awesome. So this is what it looks like. TS in the front matter, TS being TypeScript or JS. At the front matter, you can totally opt into JavaScript. But the weird thing is that once you build your website for production and you're ready to release it, well, we'll actually ship no JavaScript by default. So Astro doesn't ship JavaScript. Woo! Because what did we need in the JavaScript world? Less JavaScript. Cool. So imagine this web page, like the most simple web page that we have in a framework like Next or Nuxt. All these different components here on the screen, like the boxes, basically represent components. All of them require JavaScript to render. Even though something like the footer, they have 3 links in it, why do we need JavaScript to render that? Well, Astro will just compile everything down to native HTML and CSS, requiring no JavaScript. Now, that's really, really cool. So out of the box, you will have like the Lighthouse score, 100 on everything. Because there is nothing. Well, there is CSS and HTML. Don't get me wrong, there is something. Your website, ideally. But of course, this is amazing for like content-driven websites, content-heavy websites, content-first websites. That's the typical like the buzzwording that we use. But of course, what if you need interactivity? Your website will feel very boring and very old school if you have nothing. Well, we have a client directive. And client directives will actually like determine how your website should behave in JavaScript terms. So out of the box, we ship a couple of default behaviors. So we have client load that will just like instantly load the JavaScript or like ship the hydration as soon as it's there. We have client idle, which will do the same thing, but only when the main thread of the browser is free. Client media for like buttons on mobiles and stuff. Like it will just hydrate when the given media query is met. We also have client visible. I didn't picture it because it's very obvious what it does. It ships JavaScript when it's visible. And then we have client only, which just makes it opt out for our compiler. So basically, it says, fuck you, compiler, here's the code. But with that same website that we had earlier, with like the magic of all of those client directives, we can actually recreate that static MPA to be an interactive MPA. that makes a lot of sense, right? Now we have a full interactive website, but we optimized the way of shipping your JavaScript to the client and to the end users. Makes sense. So that's what those client directives do. But also, you can build your own. Like, we're very big open source fanatics at Astro. We love to do open source, so we let you build your own. The problem is that devs often go like kind of crazy with stuff. If it's open source, we can do cool things. So then we got this. Client only ship basically JavaScript when it's raining in New York. Cool thing, cool thing, but yeah, is it useful? We'll see. Well, it would be useful if it's in Belgium, because that would be a true statement. Next up, of course, that whole island thing. So we call it island architecture, or islands, interactive islands, isolated components that ship JavaScript. One of the twists that I didn't talk about yet is actually that you can just use your own framework. You use Astro as a base layer, and then you just use any JavaScript framework on top of it. Even analog, basically Angular, you can use. We have like no judgment. Use whatever you want. I'll just show you like a quick demo of what that actually looks like. I mean, you have seen counter components being created probably 100 times, if not only 1,000 times today. So I'll skip over that part. It's basically just a counter. We import it. We export it here. We import it into our Astro component page. And then we'll just add it to the page. If I'll wait a second here. I actually pre-recorded this quite a while ago. And the only reason I had it in here is to show Houston. Look at him being happy. Oh, exactly. Yeah, Houston is amazing. So when we go to our page, you can actually see the counter is there. It's written in React, but it's not working because we didn't add a client directive yet. So if we add a client directive there, just very simple client load for now. You can see all the options. It's very type safe, as it should be by now. You just add it. You open the page again. But in this case, I'm going to build the website first, preview the preview, makes sense, to just show you how much JavaScript is actually being shipped to the front end. So let me just open that here. There we go. And if I now reload the page, you can see that instantly we have a couple of JavaScript things. And now the button works. Yay, cool. Woo! For the 5 people clapping, yay! Thank you. Cool. So all of those features combined like make Astro a really, really great option for websites or web applications even by now. 1 year ago, like exactly 1 year ago, I took the stage for the very, very first time ever here in Amsterdam as well, at JSWorld. I was working at the cloud company back then in Belgium, and I regularly like contributed to Astro and Astro Core and Astro documentation. And I decided to give a talk. But also Fred was giving a talk, so it was a little bit awkward, but turned out good. So just 1 year ago, 2023, we did a couple of things. We made memes like this happen because actually we shipped 3 majors in the time span of 1 year. So today I wanted to like show you a little bit of all those features. I still have like 15 minutes left. Because Mark went a little bit over time, but he's going to pay me a beer for it, so it's fine. But I'll be going fast, so bear with me. So in January, I think, like just after I gave that talk, or just before I gave that talk, we shipped Astro 2. And Astro 2 had this big thing called the new CLI. And the new CLI was like amazing. It had amazing developer experience, it had amazing questions, it felt very good. That's what it actually looks like. We have Houston even at the bottom there. And eventually, like that work that we did there, or mainly actually Nate did, resulted in its own library called Clack. So you can even use the same like library style CLI in your own projects if you want. Told you we are very big open source fans. We'll release everything that we can in open source. The big flagship feature though was content collections. Content collections are basically a new and better way to work with authoring content. Basically, you have your own files like Markdown or MDX, but we make it type safe. Everything in the front matter you can type. We use a library for that called Zod. Who has heard of Zod? Probably everyone by now. Good. Use it. So it means that you just have like IntelliSense and type safety inside of all of your components when you're working with that content. Really useful. We already had SSR and just the normal like static builds, but we also added hybrid rendering, which meant that you actually can do amazing things. Like you can add an API to a very static website, or you can just improve the performance of very large sites. Or maybe you can just like render the very important pages on your website statically and everything else dynamically. You can totally choose that. And also because the people at V do a very amazing job, thank you for that. I don't know where they are. Maybe not here because they've seen all that. They provide us with like amazing like stability and performance gains just by upgrading our V version. We also like shipped a new design, and not just like a new branding language for ourselves, which you can see on the screen, but also like in developer experience, like better content collection errors, better errors overall, and very clear to read. Like in this case, I can instantly see, oh, in my content collection, my front matter is invalid, and what is actually wrong? Well, it's the blog, and there in the Astro tutorial, the front matter doesn't have the collection theme, title is required. Very clear. But also, I mentioned it, also our brand got redesigned. So yes, people, this is our logo. This is not, because everyone still uses that one. We then launched Astro 3. I think it was in August something. It was super exciting because our big flagship feature was view transitions. And view transitions actually weren't really stable at the time, but Astro was the first one to like ship it as being stable and also with cross-browser support, because it's still not the best in every browser, but we polyfilled it. And view transitions make your multi-page application, which is statically rendered, feel like an SPA without shipping JavaScript, actually. Well, not too much anyways. And the best thing for you, like as a developer, is that it only takes 2 lines of code to actually, thank you, to actually make it work, which is really cool. We also have Edge middleware now. So in the middleware that you already had, you can now like ship an even faster experience to all of your users via the Edge. Image optimizing was something that we really struggled with at the beginning, like on how we wanted to do it. But we actually like shipped it with Astro 3 as being stable. We had it before, but that was more experimental and it was third party and a couple of things. But actually, it's really cool how it works. You just import your image in your front matter on the server. You put it in your markup, and it will actually automatically like run it through Sharp or Scoosh or something else that you want. And in this case, it might be a very big PNG image that you're loading, but actually you will be shipping just a very small WebP version. But of course, if you say image optimizing, people will ask, but what about picture? Because picture is also really, really good. It took some time, like we shipped 3 extra minors to make it work, and then in 3.3, we actually had it. People asked for it a lot. And with picture, you can actually define more formats. So in this case, I have to read, I think it's AVIF and WebP that you support, and then it will automatically output all of those versions, and still refer to the original as being the PNG in the image. And then we started to like work on our performance and our internal JSX. And because we did that refactoring of our JSX internally, we were able to also like ship fast refresh, which meant that like in your frameworks like React and Preact, your state will be the same even though you're changing like live code. Because we all know how annoying it can be when you're working on a modal, you change 2 lines and then suddenly all of the state is gone, you have to log in again, you have to open the modal again. That doesn't happen with fast refresh. Then we ship page partials. And page partials are really cool because we have this library called HTMX, which is really hype, I would say. And with HTMX and partial, you can actually use HTMX with Astro, which is really, really powerful. It will just basically ship a partial page, so no no doc type HTML, no head, no body, that stuff. Also, Starlight we released. Who has heard of Starlight? Only the people at the front. Nice. Starlight is amazing. Like, it's not only its first major yet, we're still working on it a lot. But also, like, a lot of people are already, like, especially open source projects, are already hopping on. Because Starlight is a documentation platform built on Astro. And so supports everything that Astro supports, so being it frameworks, being content collections, all of those goodies, island architecture, all of that stuff. And basically, what makes Starlight great is that it's actually everything that we learned from doing and writing all of our documentation for Astro, in Astro, and we saw like, this is not really good, this is not really good. So we built another theme slash generator that actually solved those problems. That's what Starlight became. And it's really good. Like, I'm really proud of it. And then, of course, the latest release that we have is Astro 4. It didn't just stop at Astro 2 and 3 and Starlight. No, we do more. We do more. We shipped a dev toolbar. It's really cool. The dev toolbar is a powerful way to actually enhance your developer experience in the local browser without leaving the browser. So here you'll see the dev toolbar. Toolbar is the thing at the bottom there. And this is the inspect tool. You'll see what islands you have, in what language they're written, are they client loaded, and all of that stuff. You can just see it there. You can open it in VS Code if you just click on it. Really, really easy. But we also shipped an audit tool. And the audit tool is actually everything that has to do with accessibility. Accessibility is really important. And we want to like motivate people to make it easier and help them get good accessibility. That's what we do here. Like, it will basically show you, have you have ELD tags everywhere? Are they filled? Do you have area roles where they need it? All of that stuff. So really, really cool. Also, it's open source, so if you want to build your own integration, you can. For instance, Storyblock has one. So you can, Storyblock people clapping. You can just see all of your blocks inside of the toolbar without leaving the toolbar. Really cool. You also have like the Tailwind config viewer and that stuff. Really cool. Now, of course, we're also working on some experimental stuff. In Astro 4, we introduced the experimental still, incremental content caching, which basically is a way of caching all of your content files to speed them up during build. Because it doesn't make sense when you have 3,000 pages of documentation and you fix a typo to rebuild all of those 3,000 pages because you actually want to rebuild one. And that's what we are experimenting with now. And actually, we applied it to our own documentation, and we were able to get like 80% of speed gains in builds. It's insane. And also, like, if you have a build system that's paid, probably you do, this is amazing because it will get way cheaper. But also, because we shipped Starlight, we shipped our new documentation with it. Like our new branding language, use Starlight instead of Astro Pure. And it's amazing. Like, it's really good. We have 3,000 pages. We have I18N internationalization support out of the box. It's amazing. You should try it. We also shipped Expressive Code, and Expressive Code was built by a third-party member for Astro, like a third-party contributor, a community member, and is open source now. It's also used in the SolidStart docs and Solid docs. Really cool. We also announced the Ecosystem Fund. It's probably not something you've heard of, but Astro actually, like all the money that we get into our open collective, will stay there until it goes out to our contributors, not to me, like as an Astro core member. No, it goes to people that actually work on Astro, make the ecosystem bigger. And that's what we did here. Over 2024, we dedicated $100,000 going to third-party contributors in Astro. For instance, if you make a tool that makes the life of 1,000 developers easier with Astro, you are able to get this grant. It's really cool. But of course, that's not everything. I know I summed up a lot of features. I told you I would. Craziest part of that is that, of course, these are a lot of features, but we have so many more. Like the I18N that I didn't even really touch. Login, prefetch, and all of those. But people always ask me, what's next? Like, I have shipped 3 majors of this year. Can I get a rest, please? No, what's next? We want more. Which is good. That's the sign that Astro is very alive. So actually, you can decide what's next, because we have an open roadmap. You can just like make an issue on GitHub or a discussion. We'll talk about it. We have an RFC process that it goes through. It's really amazing. It's really cool, and it like feels very true to our way of working in open source. So really, really cool. All right, catching my breath now. If you want to stay updated, there is a couple of things you can do. We have a very active Discord channel, well, Discord server, where we deliver support, where we answer questions, where we just discuss on new features. We do everything there. We have our own website, of course, which is astro.build. We recently launched a newsletter, so if you're interested in, like, want to see what happens inside of the Astroverse, you can do it there. Cool. Thank you. Wait, I got you. One more thing. No. Before I leave the stage, we're a company, so sometimes we work on a couple of secret stuff we can't yet talk about. But maybe I can give you a little bit of a teaser today. So what have we been working on? Well, I can say as much as, no, it's not a CMS. It's not a CMS. It's also not serverless hosting like some people thought. No, no, it's something completely new. It's very exclusive to Astro, and it will give every Astro developer superpowers on this planet. We're calling it Astro Studio, and it will be playing. Normally, I do have sound. I did turn it off because it's otherwise a little bit difficult. But it's called Astro Studio, and it will be coming in 12 days, so very soon. Cool, that's really everything for now. But thank you very much. We'll see you soon.